People say your loop is more of a half loop, half hit. You're just pulling your arm back a bit more than a drive, but you can't generate any genuine topspin. Today, let's talk about the forehand topspin loop. First, let's look at the backswing for a topspin ball. For this topspin loop, should the backswing go backward or downward? It's actually downward. The most common mistake for amateur players is pulling the shoulder and arm straight back. You create tension by pulling straight back. Try to feel the difference between pulling back and pulling down. Your backswing should go down, but not straight down. Diagonally down and back is correct. This is different from the backswing position for a backspin ball. Because if you pull straight back, you tense up your shoulder, making it difficult to properly brush the ball. During the forehand topspin loop, try to keep your hand closer to your body. Let the backswing follow the line of your body. Watch my shoulder and hand. They move diagonally down and back. Now for the second point, racket angle. Pay close attention to the change in my racket angle, both during the backswing and at contact. My racket face doesn't flip over. However, my starting and ending racket angles aren't identical. There is a change in the angle. Let's use the inside of the forearm, where your pulse is, as a reference. During my backswing, notice it's pointing diagonally towards the ground. Not straight down, but at a diagonal. Throughout my entire loop motion, this forearm angle stays consistent. It doesn't change. It's the same for the shakehand grip when looping. Ensure the inside of your forearm points diagonally down, and avoid flipping your wrist during the entire contact phase. Watch my racket face brush the ball. It needs to be tangential to create friction. After I brush and grip the ball, I drive through it. The racket face remains stable, its angle consistently pointing diagonally down. I find that many amateur players make a lot of mistakes at this stage. Common mistakes are having the racket face pointing forward, down, or always facing forward and up. Because for amateurs, the racket face is a relatively difficult thing to control. So, instead of trying to control the racket face, we focus on maintaining a fixed wrist angle. The wrist isn't locked rigid, there's a tiny bit of brushing action at contact. But there's none of the common pushing, flipping, or pressing wrist movements. The web of your hand should point forward throughout the entire motion, from backswing to impact to follow through. Take a look. See how stable the racket face is? This technique looks good. And this part is crucial for stability when you power up your loop. The third key point is the elbow. Watch my elbow during a forehand drive. Does it move? To be precise, the elbow does move during a forehand drive. It moves from back to front. It doesn't have any vertical movement, like going down and then up. Now, let's look at the loop again. Does the elbow move? If people say your loop is a half loop, half hit, it's because your elbow isn't rising. Just like in a drive. You're just pulling your arm back a bit more than a drive, but you can't generate any genuine topspin. So, when looping, the elbow not only moves forward and back, but it also moves vertically. For my topspin loop, my elbow is at my waist during the backswing. I'll demonstrate a few. Backswing, the elbow is at the waist. After the loop, the elbow is below my chest. From the waist to below the chest, that's a certain distance. The reason it goes high is not because it goes straight up. It rises as it moves forward. Forward and upward simultaneously. When the elbow moves vertically, your arm's trajectory forms what we call an outer arc, wrapping around the ball. In a drive, your elbow should not move vertically, only back and forth. When looping, there must be vertical movement. Not just forward back, but also upward during the forward motion. This is why you're not wrapping the ball. You're taking an inner arc. I'm asking for an outer arc, and for that, the elbow must move vertically. This way, you can wrap around the ball. Okay, next let's talk about the shoulder. Why do professional strokes look so good? Whether it's a drive or a loop, the key is in the shoulders. For forehand topspin loops, drives, or loops against backspin, when you turn your shoulder, it must not be a flat turn. You must dip the shoulder as you turn. For drives, loops, or against backspin, it's always this way. Only then can you truly sink your right shoulder down. Another key point is to hollow your chest. This is how you win points. This is how you become solid. But amateur players are often too open and loose. This way, you can't cover the transition from backhand to forehand. When transitioning from backhand to forehand, if I open up my shoulders, the incoming ball will always be faster than me. So I always keep my shoulders rounded. If you can't find the feeling, try hugging yourself like this. After hugging, open up. That's the feeling. The shoulders are always rounded. When turning to the right or to the front, they stay rounded. The most critical point is, if you puff out your chest, you lose continuity. You'll feel jammed and unable to maintain a shoulder position for continuous power. Even serves are done with rounded shoulders. As long as you get these points right, rounded shoulders, vertical and horizontal elbow movement, and a stable wrist, your technique is bound to look good. Let your body follow the same trajectory as your arm's arc. When this arc is present, the stroke looks good. Avoid overly straight, linear movements. Next, let's discuss the relationship between the upper arm and forearm. This is the most important relationship. During the backswing, is the angle between the forearm and upper arm opened up? Look closely. It should be open, but not fully extended. Maintain a certain bend. It's not completely straight, nor is the forearm lifted up. Up, level, or slightly down, all are incorrect. You must be completely relaxed, because only when the forearm swings downward can your racket head drop. This is to get better brush on the ball. For example, when looping backspin, it's to get a better brush on it. So when we drive, the forearm is level, or slightly lower. When looping, the forearm points downward. If your forearm is level or pointing up when you loop, as soon as the ball has a bit of spin, you'll hit the net. And you'll often feel jammed by the ball. From my backswing to contact, is my forearm lower than the ball, higher, or level with it? I'm actually lower than the ball. As the ball is dropping, I am moving forward and up. Our two motions combine to create force. The timing I just used is a point that amateurs find hard to rush. To be clear, it's at the very beginning of the descent. I must get below the ball to meet it, instead of pulling straight back and trying to meet the ball from behind. Why do so many players struggle to brush the ball on topspin loops? The reason is your backswing doesn't go down enough, and then you rush when you see the ball. You end up hitting the top of the ball. Why do you hit the net? Because you rush. The ball bounces, and your hand moves too fast, trying to hit it from above. Let me show you the ball marks. Even though my racket is old, you can see the marks from these incorrect shots are all on the lower half. When dealing with backspin, over 50 to 60% of players have this problem. The contact point is on the lower half of the racket face, when it should be on the upper half. This is because your backswing doesn't sink down enough. Why doesn't it sink enough? Because you turn your shoulders flatly, don't lower your center of gravity, don't lunge, and don't dip your shoulder. So you can't get low enough. When you're not low enough and rush to use power, you'll almost always make contact with the bottom half of the racket face. And when you use the bottom half, the biggest problem is you can't brush the ball. The brushing distance is too short, and the contact location is wrong. For a topspin loop, contact should be on the upper half of the racket. Near the middle, you can generate power. On the upper half, you can generate spin. The correct technique, for looping both topspin and backspin, is to lunge forward, dip your shoulder as you turn, get below the ball, and meet the incoming ball as you swing forward and up. This way, you can execute a power loop. You must aim to make contact on the upper half of the racket face to brush the ball properly. Contact in the middle can create some friction, and you can drive through the ball solidly with power. But if you use the lower half, as soon as you swing faster in a match, the ball will go straight into the net. Not being able to wait for the ball is the biggest problem in the forehand loop, for both topspin and backspin balls. I'll show you one where I rush, and one where I wait for it. If you want a good loop, you absolutely must wait for the ball. A common problem is being relaxed on the backswing, but as you start the forward swing, you grip the racket too tightly, a death grip. The second problem is the wrist. Because a coach said to brush, you need to rotate the racket face. You start rotating from the backswing. And by contact, it's turned into a push. So the feeling we're looking for now is this. During the backswing, we are relaxed. Before I make contact with the ball, my hand is relaxed. When I make contact with the ball, watch the feeling in my hand. The hand is very soft and relaxed. And then at this moment, it accelerates upon contact. I'm accelerating, and then I transition smoothly into an accelerating follow-through. Don't use all your power from the beginning of the forward swing. You'll waste your energy too early. Even if your backswing is relaxed, if you are stiff at contact, the motion becomes a flat hit. Before you contact the ball, don't grip the racket tightly. Second point, don't stiffen your arm. You must get these 2 points right. Only at the moment of contact do I initiate acceleration and power. Before contact, the arm should be loose, like a noodle. A topspin loop has friction. How is this friction created? You can't create too much friction voluntarily. If the ball is slow and you want to generate power, use your fingers to drive through the ball as you brush it. There's no wrist flipping action. See? There's no wobbling. The biggest difference from a drive is that at the moment of contact, my fingers apply force to drive through the ball, but without any large wrist rotation. If the ball is fast, for example, if the opponent changes direction on you, even a little wrist turn can make the ball go out. In this situation, I don't use my wrist, but I still loop. I don't use my wrist. For this ball, I use no finger or wrist action at all. When an opponent hits a high-quality, fast, heavy ball from your backhand to your forehand, do not use too much wrist or finger action. It will compromise the quality of your return. In this moment, you must stabilize your racket face. Letting the racket face grip the ball is also a form of friction. I'll demonstrate. My racket face is stable, wrist is still, fingers are still. This is also a type of friction. Because it's pressing on the ball tangentially, contacting the upper middle part, it creates friction. When the opponent's ball is fast, if you try to actively brush it, it will go out. So you must keep the racket face closed and stable. If you are initiating the loop on a slower, more controllable ball, then you can use your fingers and wrist to drive through and brush the ball. Backswing, brush, and then coordinate with the follow-through. This completes the backswing, brush, and follow-through sequence of the loop.